Good afternoon, I'm County Sheriff Gary Raney. Sometime between Sunday evening and Tuesday morning, 3 people were murdered along Cartwright Road. In my 31 years of law enforcement, I've probably not seen a bloodier or more violent murder occur. Today, detectives are investigating the murder of those three innocent individuals and trying to develop leads. We're working diligently on trying to figure out not only what happened before, but certainly what's happened since and who was responsible. Many of the answers that you would like to have I can't give you today. What I can tell you is that there's one car that we believe is connected to the crime, at least might have been in the area. That's a 2003 gold Subaru Legacy station wagon. So we know that car was along Cartwright Road sometime between late Sunday evening and sometime Tuesday morning. We also believe that car traveled around East Boise and up in the Central Bench area. And somebody may have seen something. Somebody who was driving that car who at the time seemed suspicious. Or maybe they looked down and thought, that looks like blood on their shoes. We don't know everything that happened, but the entire detective division of the Sheriff's Office is diligently working in cooperation with many other agencies, Boise Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, and others to try to bring this crime to closure. Later this afternoon, we did arrest one person who we believe is connected to the crime. Let me make the distinction that I didn't say responsible for the crime, but I said connected to the crime. That's really all it is, but we'll again be working on that lead. Another thing that I leave you, I know you wishing that I could give more descriptive information, but we have to protect certain leads and we have to make sure that we don't make assumptions. And that's exactly what's happening now. So our hope is out of this press conference today that we let people know there's been a terrible crime happen in the Boise area. And I mean a terrible crime. That our detectives are doing a wonderful job in cooperation with the other agencies of investigating this crime, gathering the evidence, working through all possible suspects that we have. But once again, as almost always happens in these situations, we need the community's help. So I'm not giving you much information, but I ask that if somebody has that suspicion, somebody saw somebody who just didn't seem to fit or who acted nervous, or in that car, again a 2003 gold Subaru Legacy station wagon, that wasn't right, whether it be along Cartwright Road, over in the East Boise area, up in the Central Bench area, please call detectives and give us a tip. Because even though we may get thousands of tips, it's just going to take that one that may help us put this to rest and hold those people who were responsible for this responsible and put them in jail. With that, I would answer any questions.
Sheriff Raney, do you believe that this was a random crime? Did these people know each other, or is that something that you're still trying to figure out?
We're really still trying to figure that out. Again, when we begin these investigations, we avoid making assumptions. That's something that usually comes at the end when we really get to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Whoever committed this crime, I personally can't possibly imagine what was in their mind to do this to 3 people who were obviously innocent. The way that we found them, the violence that had happened, their names and the details will be released by the 8th County Coroner eventually, but you'll see that when I say this crime is heinous, that's probably an understatement. So as to motive and what the connections are, we're still working through all of those details.
There were detectives at Best Buy earlier. Can you tell us that connection?
Yes, that was the individual that we arrested that is connected with the crime, and again, not responsible for it, but did have a connection and enough probable cause for us to take him into custody, not for the homicide, but for a crime related to it. Again, I want to stress, this could be one of the suspects in the homicide, but it could just as easily not be. Again, as we work through it, trying to put the details together, I hope I have better news for you.
It was a family member that found the people. Does that mean it was the owners of the home and a family member came to the home to find them?
A family member did initially find the people and then call sheriff's deputies Tuesday around noon. That's when we responded and found the crime scene.
As far as this car that you're looking for, is it suspected to have Idaho plates or out-of-state plates? Do you know?
It has Idaho plates.
And tell me a little bit, I know you said that it may have been in the area, may have stopped at a store. Are you asking stores or anyone else who may have security footage over the last couple of days to look over their footage to see if they see anything?
Absolutely. This is the difficult part of, I'd like to give you a license number, but with technology today, if I gave you a license number, you could track down, you could get a name, we could begin to, as a community, make assumptions about who was responsible. We don't want those assumptions, so I leave it at just a vehicle description, but absolutely if somebody was in a restaurant, was in a store, saw any of this, we have some locations that we believe they may have been at, but it would be a retail location that was most probable, or maybe they stopped by a friend's house after and that friend thought something was up. Give us a call.
I know you said you can't give too many details on the case, but does it appear that anything was taken, or does it appear that this was just possibly a murder?
You know, that's again a detail that obviously we know what the crime scene looked like, but we want to withhold that at this time to make sure that we're not giving any false leads or false assumptions about what happened. Certainly our detectives don't know what was in the home before to compare it with what was in there now.
We've been talking with people who live in the area today and just some of our viewers who are wondering if they should be worried about their own safety. Is this something that you feel the public is in danger because there could be someone on the loose who committed this heinous crime?
You know, it's sad for me to say that, yes, I think there's still a good possibility that somebody who violently, without cause, without any provocation that I know of, killed 3 innocent people. And that person could well still be on the loose. So we are working 24 hours a day with everything we've got to put that person in jail. We need the community's help, but I can't stand here and tell you that, no, we've got the right person, and this should be arrest, and I don't want to alarm the community. I want the community to help us make sure that we put the right person in jail.
Do you know how long that your crews will be there investigating?
As long as it takes.
I know you can't tell us the license plate number. Do we know that it's in Idaho?
Yes, it is Idaho.
Can you release the name yet of the person who was taken into custody on, not for the murder necessarily, but for a separate crime?
I'm sorry, not yet. That just happened a short time ago, as most of you know.
Can we know if all 3 people that were killed are related?
They are.
And I know you said the identities were going to be released. We did talk with some neighbors. Some said that the people who lived there might have had a child. Is there any indication that there was a child at the home?
No. I should say, at least there was not a child that lived at the home that we know of.
Were these the owners of the home, or renting, or, you know?
I do know, but again, I want to withhold that for now.
You mentioned there may be multiple suspects as well as multiple crimes with the person that you have in custody right now. Is it drug related? Is this a parole issue?
You know, that would speak to motivation, and again, we don't make that assumption about motivation at this point. It's hard for me to fathom, even as I say, after 31 years of law enforcement, what could possibly motivate somebody to do to these 3 people what they did. So again, what we do is rely upon collecting evidence and facts. That's what the detectives will be doing, as I said, for as long as it takes. I do, with all my heart, hope that we bring this to closure and put these people in jail, because that's where they need to be.
But is there a crime other than murder that you're looking into?
The crime that the person was taken into custody at Best Buy for, he was not being charged with murder at this time, but he is in custody. So, with that, I thank you for coming, and I suspect that we'll be giving you updates. I appreciate yours and the community's help on helping us call in leads so that we can bring justice for the family members.